Sometimes it's hard to face reality. Oh, oh.
Welcome to Bhai Chat.
Even though you might get mad at me. Oh, oh. Sometimes it's hard to face reality. Should've been adjusted to my life.
For the benefit of those who don't know us, this is Manish and I'm Neil. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Hi, my name's Manish and I'm almost 47 years old. I've lived in the UK most of my life. I spent 5 years in Australia and recently came back last year. My career background is I spent over 20 years working in the investment field, and 4 years ago I switched careers completely and trained to become a life coach. In terms of my personal life, I was married and I've separated with my wife, and I have an 11-year-old daughter. I've been through lots of stuff in my life, lots of very great and good things, as well as some traumatic things. And what I'm hoping to do here is share my experiences and the principles by which I live my life, in the hope that this is of some value to you too.
My name's Neil. I'm a professional photographer working in the UK. I've had the opportunity to travel around the world and have many experiences. I thought this would be a perfect place to conversate with my older brother Manish and share some of his knowledge and his methods for coping with life with you guys out there. Manish has 4 principles that he likes to live his life by. Through many of our conversations and him helping me through my own struggles, I thought it would provide a great toolkit for helping anyone. So do you want to let us know what these kind of 4 fundamentals are?
These are principles which I've learnt from different people like Tony Robbins, Brené Brown. There's some famous wisdom that comes from a group of people in Mexico called the Toltecs. They're kind of artists of life. And the last few years I've spent a lot of time reading, and through that reading I've learnt these things, and I've been applying them through the last 4 years of my life. So Neil, you mentioned that there are 4 principles by which I live. So let me go through them one by one. So the first principle is we choose the meaning we give to things. So let me explain that in a bit more detail. Nothing in life that happens to us in the external world has any meaning. We assign it a meaning based on our perspective, our life experiences, and our beliefs, our values, what's important to us. So let me give you an example. I mean, we could take, say we've got that cup of water there in front of us, and you have, looks like some sort of tea. Until I mentioned it, that had no meaning. But to you, that cup of tea might mean great warmth and comfort that you feel when you have that cup of tea. For me, I don't actually like tea. And so to me, it looks like something actually not very tasty at all. So the point there, and it's a very simple point, is that that cup of tea actually has no meaning, but it gives meaning to us depending on what interpretation and what perspective we have on it. And that applies to everything in our life, from playing football, to watching TV, to going to work, to interacting with people. None of those events actually have meaning in themselves, but we choose to give it a meaning, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's the first principle I live by, and all of this is all about awareness in life. It's about becoming aware of your thoughts and your feelings and why you do what you do. And so what I'm going through here is the toolkit that I use to navigate my life, and as a result, what I found is I experienced great happiness and joy through this toolkit. So that was the first one. We choose the meaning we give to things. The second principle by which I live by is I say, okay, face what's in front of you and ask what's in your control. Because the thing is, there are many things in life which are not in your control. But you always have something in your control, which is your perspective, which kind of goes back to the first principle. But if you focus on what's in your control, so you can either change what you do or you can change how you see it, then when you focus on what's in your control, you will feel empowered. And that has great joy in itself. And it means that don't play the victim in any situation, because quite often we feel like this is out of our control, and we might then put a narrative to it saying this is really unfair. But that might be true, but it's not helpful to think like that, to play kind of this is not fair on me, why is life like this, why is the universe against me? So if you say to yourself at all times, what's in my control here, then you will feel empowered. And just try it, see how it feels in terms of the impact it has, in terms of how you see things as a result of focusing on what's in your control. The third principle, and this is a really important one because it kind of embeds a lot of the pain we feel in our lives. And this third principle is don't judge. That means don't judge yourself and don't judge others. Because it's when we judge that we feel great pain and suffering. When we talk about things being good and bad and right or wrong, that's all based on a point of view. So no actual event is good or bad or right or wrong. It simply is. And it comes back to that first principle. We give it a meaning, and that meaning could be good, bad, right or wrong. And that's okay. It's all right to give it that meaning. But the problem is that by constantly applying that meaning, what we do is we then judge ourselves based on our set of kind of values of what we think is good and bad and right and wrong. And we then make our love for ourselves conditional on we must always do good. So you just have to become aware of when you're assigning good, bad, right or wrong to things, and as a result judging yourself. Because the problem with that is that it manifests in a feeling that we're not good enough. And then when we feel like we're not good enough, then we feel sad. And that manifests in all sorts of different emotions. And again, remember, all of this is all about the keys to being happy in life. And if you find something that is not making you happy, it's about becoming first aware of it, understanding it, and then saying, okay, if this doesn't serve me, what do I need to change? So judgment is one of kind of, it's almost like the tools of the devil in terms of our constant judgment that we apply to ourselves. So the third principle by which I live is I say, don't judge. So the fourth one, which is linked to the judging, is that have unconditional respect, both for yourself and for others. Quite often we'll say, I will be happy if, when you're younger, if I do well in my exams. I'll be happy if I get a great job. I'll be happy when I get married. I'll be happy when I have kids. I'll be happy when my kids have got a great education and they're successful. Now, if you notice the pattern there, there's a lot of ifs and when. And the point there is that what we're doing, when you stop and think about it, is we're saying, okay, we'll be happy only if those conditions are met. And therefore, we're making our love for ourselves, as well as for others, conditional. So the question I would ask is, what purpose does that serve? Is that serving us well to do that? Instead, if you make your love for self unconditional, you can be happy all the time. And it comes back to the judgment. When we say if, we're effectively saying we will only be happy if we meet that certain criteria, which is a form of judgment. So that's it. Those are the four principles by which I live my life. It's in the toolkit, should I say, of we choose the meaning we give to things. So choose the empowering meaning as opposed to the draining meaning where you feel like the victim. Face what's in front of you and ask what's in my control. third one was don't judge. And the fourth one, linked to that, is have unconditional respect for yourself as well as for others. Thank you for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. We should say that these are simply our opinions from our own learnings and what we've experienced in our lives, and in no way are they representing an authoritative view or replacement for any professional advice that you may feel that you need. We do hope you enjoyed it though and found it useful. If you'd like to comment, then please leave some comments down below on the channel, and we'll come back and try and cover topics that are of interest to people. And do subscribe so that you can catch our future videos as well. Thank you.